Good evening, everyone, and welcome to an episode of Transpicuous Views. I have one of my special friends here with me today. I want to introduce you to Mike WeBeFree. Now, those of you who've been following along on this for years will remember back in Removing the Shackles days, Gilga Mike and the adventures.
Gave me the great honor of being.
The adventures of
Google knows me as Gilga Mike.
That's right. Google knows him as Gilga Mike, and his epic adventures. When you basically got rid of all those pieces of paper that tie you down to an identity and hit the road with nothing but a guitar and a backpack.
Danny, I got rid of more than just the pieces of paper.
Oh, I know.
You know,
that's what we're going to talk about.
I basically lost much of what I held dear. Like my mother, they'd murdered by chemo. I don't want to call it therapy, by the chemo torture thing.
Chemo poisons, yeah.
Chemo poisoning. And then my father, after he had just not grasped my ways anymore, he basically gave me the bye-bye. And that was just when my daughter had gotten captured in Paraguay with MK Ultra and everything, and then back in Germany, purported Germany, they took my daughter, and then I was busker, and then I realized, went parallel. First, I lost everything that I thought I held dear in this life. I thought I identified with in this life.
That's the point of this.
Identity. It all comes down to identity. And I found as a busker, as just out of necessity, I went out with a borrowed guitar in the beginning, and then some friend got one for €5 on a flea market and gifted me that, and that's how I started out. Busking, just have a few coins every day. And then I realized it's a more satisfying job, work, and it is work, than I'd ever had before. And in a way, it was not about the money that came in, that was not it, but that I felt I came closer to what I'm here for.
Who you are.
Who I am, and what really fulfills me. And I was really able to help people, not just with music, but the music was mainly a door opener. By being there at the same spot in the same town every day, no matter what weather, Mike was there with the guitar, and people of all ages and creeds and sizes came up and started talking to me. And more well I got known, the more well I became known in that area. Rare people came up, like in the end, only the last half year, the 3-4 years that I was in the Oldenwell playing my street music, I'd always seen this man with badass cars. I mean, yeah, at the top of the line, more than €100,000 car, and his wife, gorgeous with long hair and everything. I heard he was a race driver. He drove races. So I always had a badass Porsche and a Mercedes SL, and always kind of. And the last half year, in the beginning, the Docheve, the 2CV, the Citroen, with the alternative teacher, he always stopped and turned off his engine and came out and gave me something, €1 when he came by daily, or 5, and if he had not seen me for a while. And then in the end, even the race driver with his fine Porsche put his Porsche by the market square whenever he came by and saw me, or whenever he had time, and came up and talked with me. So I was more socially accepted by the end of that. Became established, and I remember there were legends about street musicians, about buskers, and I realized the busker can remove himself from the whole cycle of commerce, of hierarchical structures.
The political bullshit, the social bullshit.
And I don't have a boss. I don't get my income from any group or category people. I get an average from all sorts of people. There is someone who gives the busker. And so I can say whatever I want. I can be the free press, basically, because the press was bought from the beginning, because it worked on money from the beginning, and the ones that had more money could put out the greater news and more professional stuff. And
you are the modern day bard, traveling, giving the news, the political commentary as it came.
But not only that, it's also, I always went barefoot until they had snow and ice on the ground in Germany. I went barefoot, standing as hitchhiker by the side of the road, always having a little longer of a beard.
This is his short beard.
After my time on the street, I gave myself, it was real dreaded and everything, so I had it down to way down. Anyway.
I want to talk about going to Spain.
Yeah.
Because you got up and you just went to Spain.
No. I said I'm hitchhiking to Africa. I want to go to the motherland. I first wanted to stop by y'all's community in Outstown. And then Spain would have never been my choice. Mentality-wise, the whole macho thing, it's not my bag, baby. I'd always enjoyed people that were more humble, and mentalities, areas of the world
that
are more
hospitable. Just pause for 1 second, hun. Just pause. Sorry, small fly break.
I enjoyed it, actually.
It was entertaining.
Anyway, Spain would have never been my choice, but I woke up in this town in southern Spain that I would never even spend a holiday in. It was a holiday town. It was a tourist town, let's put it that way. Completely all-included tourism, and a Spanish side and a touristy side, and I was just traveling through there, spending a night there in the park, and in the morning my backpack was gone. My backpack that contained all the, I had not left any reserves anywhere. I'd quit my bank account. I'd registered as homeless. Or without permanent residence, or whatever they call it. I had nothing, nowhere, not with friends, not anywhere stashed away. All I had in this world was in the backpack.
And the very last pieces. The very last
I really identified with, the sacred book of my poetry of the last 25 years that a wise man had given me, and my photos and all the things I still identified with. And then I screamed bloody murder. I was running around the block screaming bloody murder for a few minutes. And then it came to me, that picture that my grandfather had drawn of the young man with a stick and a bundle going out into the world. And I realized it's the old ritual of growing up, of actually becoming when did I ever actually transcend from a teenager, from an adolescent looking to being a fully grown adult? It must be somewhat of a transcendence, like when you're crawling to standing, like from when you're a child to when you're actually making plans. There must be different. It's got nothing to do with being 18 years old now. You're
or
adult,
21, or 30.
With getting a license or getting a credit card or having your own car, your own house, your own family. No, that's not being adult. That's all projected. Has nothing to do with who you are, your identity, and finding your identity was an essential part in old cultures, where a young man and young woman had to go out, be somewhere where nobody knew who they were, and just by their being and doing every day show what they can contribute, because that's the only thing that satisfies you in the end of the day and lets you sleep. And I slept without a door, without a lock, without windows around me for 4 years. Up back a terrace of a half abandoned building. Uh, you sleep content. You come to have a confidence beyond anything that you've ever dreamed of, and a perspective, and it was amazing. I thought you were fucking with me when I read. It was on the hippie bus that I'd manifested from Germany to southern Spain directly. My friends in Germany were like, "You've taken years to hitchhike down to Africa. You're taking years." I'm like, "No, tomorrow there'll be a hippie bus, 5 hippies, and they'll take me down to southern Spain." And sure enough, Sarah was there, and with 5 hippies and 3 guitars, it was faster than they could go in any Ferrari. Seriously.
Probably
And
more comfortable than a Ferrari too.
exactly, a lot more fun. And I asked Eric spontaneously, intuitively. I asked him. I don't know why. I asked him. Say, can your cell phone has you got smartphone, right? Yeah. Can you check removing the shackles for me? I don't know. I did honest. Even though I liked your blog and I read it frequently, I didn't check on it every day, much less when I didn't have a computer with me. But I asked Eric, can you check remote? And there was epic journey. I'm just a boy running, dude. And then more and more. Most of all, when it really started in Roquetas de Mar, where they stole everything that I still identified with. And I started with Red Cross emergency, everything. And hell yeah. Hell yeah. That's it. Nobody knows me here. Nobody knows any of my family, any of my backgrounds, not even what nationality. I never felt like any political fiction of borders. Okay, so let's start. It was amazing. Within these years that I spent in Roquetas, I thought, does Roquetas stand for rockets or roaches? Because in the beginning, it seemed a lot more like roaches to me. And then I thought, hold on, I can make that determination, right?
Yep.
It's my WeBeFree tour, as odd as it sounds. And I called it WeBeFree tour because I realized I can serve as a model to reinitiate that old sacred ritual that I've found remnants of in many cultures worldwide. Becoming an adult, of growing up as a race again. Not sideways, not look who I am. No, that's you have. That's not who you are.
And I want to talk about that because we had this conversation
Please.
The very first night that Mike got here at 1 o'clock in the morning. And we sat down and we started having the I have conversation. And this is fundamental to this, what you mean by becoming an adult, becoming who you are.
Finding your true identity.
It's not, I have a religion, I have a race, I have a school, I have...
Have you ever realized whenever the uniforms stop you of any color and they ask for your documents, they point to a piece of paper with a photo on it and seriously ask you, is that who you are?
No.
Like, no, that's a picture of me, that's a piece of paper, here is who I am, right? Everybody says, yes, that's who I am. Projected identity, nothing more. And that's what we've grown into. And once you find your true identity, you move into a whole other perception of reality.
Yeah, without the pieces, the things that we identify with. And this is what I'm saying. Religion, race, what nationality are you, what school you went to, what profession you are, what...
Have you heard them ask me where you're from?
Yes.
That's the first question. I'm so sick of it. Before they even know my name, before they know anything about me, where are you from? Earth, planet severely scattered and corrupted by lies of political separation. I'm from here.
And I've actually heard him say that to people, strangers on the street, when they ask where he's from. I have heard him say that. Exactly.
That's my line, dude. I don't move from that. I don't respond with any political fiction, I'm real. I'm not a fiction.
So
I'm trying to be for real.
No, you're about as
I'm
real
doing
as they get, my
doing my
darling.
best.
Getting rid of the external identifications or the
Projected.
external projected identifiers to become just self, I, me,
To
and the
find
journey.
who, not become. You are already,
Yeah,
but you have to find back to
you
it.
have to climb back to it
Like
because
we have
as
to
a
relearn the
5-year-old
inner
that knows it,
technologies. Same
yep,
thing. We
yep,
already have them. We don't have to acquire nothing. We have to find nothing. We have to find it again, return to it, basically. Come to why we've come here. And yeah, it's big. It's big what's happening right now.
So you lost everything. All the identifiers, the externally projected upon you identifiers of
I gave this journey the bottom, or one of the creeds I put on this journey is back to basics. Put it in simple terms so everybody gets it.
yeah,
And look to where it came from, where it originated, the bullshit.
yeah,
And from when we're little children, we're fed vanity. That's yours, beautiful. That's the most beautiful bicycle. That's yours. Oh, look, my bicycle. You can count. You can do this. You can do that. You have a great family. You have great. No, that's all. We get, yeah, fed vanity and external identifiers from
external
the get-go.
identifiers. Yep.
And so what we got to do, and that's what this kind of journey really brings you, is it humbles you down to where you are to grow a real confidence, not like overinflated.
But to get you to know yourself too. I mean, it's when you strip away
Right.
those external projections being put on you, then you can find yourself again. You find out who you really, actually, truly are as a child. When you were a child, that person who you were before you were molded and programmed and pushed into a different shape and a different life, that person.
Right.
And then you grow up.
Let's not use the word person because I don't like.
Yes, okay. No, you're right.
The whole definition where
That
it comes
being.
from.
You would become that being.
The individual, the being.
The individual. Yeah. So you talk about the ritual. Fuck, sorry, guys. The flies in here are just fucking insane tonight. They weren't here 10 minutes ago. You talked about that ritual of becoming an adult, and you and I had hours of conversation on the fact that it's not there anymore. There is no point in time in our cultures where you truly become an adult, a self-reliant, self-responsible being that is you. Everything is been very twisted into, like, kind of like we talk about, you have your 18th birthday, you have your 21st birthday, you have these perceived things where you get your first car, your first house, and
let's
yet
talk about not the replacements, but the remnants of that ritual that we find in our culture, that most adolescent people, most youngsters, most teenagers have the desire to go spend a vacation without their parents, go somewhere else, go on an adventure, find an adventure.
Yep.
And then they look on the internet and get something organized. It's all the same. It's not it. It's not it.
No.
They take their little cards with them and their little bank machine cards, and then they're hooked again. And on these external identifiers, is that who you are? Yes, that's who I am. No, I didn't have any of that. I went to a different country, purportedly, several different countries.
Crossed some imaginary line where they began speaking a different language, all of a sudden.
Meanwhile, they used the same kind of funny money. Okay. Thing is, whenever I got informed beforehand. I was well prepared to go on that journey by things like my friend Alberto. He's a natural healer. He has a license as a natural healer. He has runs a coffee kiosk that's really registered in his wife's name. His wife's Illuminata. And he says he's refusing to make money off the disease of people. He makes enough money with his coffee. He helps people because he can. And well, we connected very well. And after a few weeks of being in that godforsaken town, Roquitas de Mar,
That you're still in?
I went to Alberto. I was like, Alberto, you know me. Why am I here? This is not my place. This is like, people are so boasty and so pretentious.
Yep.
He goes, looks at me, goes, the light has its most potential where it's darkest, Mike. Whoa, thank you. And then I found why there. And well, after third or second time, he's in the center of town, so about 3-4 miles from where I had my occupied backyard. Paradise, little paradise I found there. It all came my way, really. I created an abundance, and I could help other people that lived on the street along the way. It was amazing. But yeah, I went to Alberto for the third or fourth time after a few months, and Mike, you have to meet Marcus. I have to introduce you to Marcus. I'm like, Marcus from Canada? Yeah, how? Thank God. Marcus had been part of my preparation. You know the Marcus I'm talking about.
I can never remember his last name. He did podcasts and shows talking about the illegality of money and borders and all the rest of it.
What's the name of his YouTube channel?
I can't remember the name of his channel. We were talking about this the other day, and I couldn't remember.
If you type in Marcus from Canada, you'll find him.
Yeah.
Anyway, making it clear that there's difference, the distinction between the legal definition of the word person and who you are.
And who you actually are, as in the living being.
And what identify really comes from. Identify comes from identical, most obviously. Most cops even agree on that.
Yeah.
And then say, how would you identify me, a living, real being, with a legal fiction? And that's where we could take you to the office and identify you. I'm like, no, you couldn't, because I'm not identical with any fiction. And that's already when they start realizing that you've done your homework, basically.
He's been educating a lot of police and various other people along the way, official type people.
But not just in the official lies we've been taught, but also one main thing was the dogs that came our way. I always had 1 or 2 dogs that accompanied me, and I made it
as free beings.
As free beings, not my dogs, just part of my pack, my friends, basically. And I made a point of that. Are those your dogs? I'm like, no, they're my friends. They're free dogs. Unregistered dogs, by the way. So not under your authority, because authority comes from author, most obviously. And neither you, nor your organization, nor the top organization, is the author of this being, nor me. Okay? So I mostly got him with that. Walking with these 2 free dogs, barefoot, bearded, along the beach every day for 10, 15 miles, to get my weed mostly. I talked with everybody who was hissing at their dog, who was just tearing. I talked about those that were just dragging their dogs behind. I was talking to people. I said, psst, psst. What does that do? What animal in nature makes that sound? Dogs don't make that sound. Psst, psst. Makes alert. Because it's a very, very ancient danger in nature, and it's programmed. It's your amygdala. Immediately fight, flight reflex. The snake. And people light up, their eyes light up, and and they even the simplest people, if you put it into simple terms. And
you're hissing at your dog, you're scaring your dog.
Yeah, you're making the dog alert, but if you overuse it, there's more harm. And just making people aware of these things, or the whole punishment principle, victim mentality, saying punishment doesn't work. Showing people that punishment doesn't work. Or better even, showing them what works.
Yep.
Model imperative. Don't tell your dog to stop at the street. When you walk with your dog and you come to the perimeter of the sidewalk entering the street, you look at your dog. You do anything for your dog and you to stop. You gotta stop. You gotta look at your dog, you look left and you look right. The dogs don't need to look left or right, but my dogs do whenever they think I watch them, Uh, and then speed up a little bit while we're on the street, like with little kids. Show them
Yep.
what they're supposed to do, and don't tell them. Words are patient, It's like, yeah, right. uh, but yeah, it works. It works. And then most of all, the most important part is when they do as you want, as it's intelligent. Recognize that. Hey, the psychology calls it positive reinforcement. It doesn't have anything to do with force.
No.
It's just love,
Gratitude.
Give them some love.
Yep.
Yeah, I say danke to my dogs all the time. I use the danke word, the German word because I saw in Fifth Element when the Fifth Element being the girl, she drops into Bruce Willis' taxi.
Yeah.
And she babbles the whole other language, the universal language. And then in the end, she says, danke.
Yep.
She doesn't say thank you. Even in the original, she says danke. And so but whatever. I say thank you to my dogs all the time. And it comes back. It works. They grow much more intelligent. The more, and
because you allow them to be them.
Yeah.
You're not projecting an identity upon them, just like what we're trying to break away from. So you allow the dogs to be the dogs, and they are going to blossom and become all that they can be.
Take a step outside. Look at your race, and then look at what you call dogs. Who lives more intelligently? We shoot each other and destroy the planet and eat everything that's not alive, and if we can't eat it, we'll kill it anyway.
Yeah.
Is that intelligent? Does that seem very smart to you?
Not very.
So we think we have to teach those to do more like we do, right?
Yep. No.
I've learned so much from my two bitches. Yeah, like you wouldn't believe how they started getting along with the little kitten that came in. They were the best behaved dogs all along the lines, and they even got along with the stupid, scary Spanish. I mean, the real Spaniards, There's good people everywhere. There's people who get it everywhere.
You mean the machos,
those are most affected by the programming.
Yeah.
And they even got along with those over time and knew how to handle all the situations. But whenever there's cats around or they saw a cat, they're off. They still stopped at the side of the street. Like they didn't run into the street, even if the cat did. But everything else, when we were walking and they knew there were cats ahead, off they go. And then the young Spanish guy comes by my busking place. I've always talked with him. And he goes, Mike, I saved 5 little kittens. Can you adopt one? I'm like, with these 2 dogs? Perfect. Confrontational therapy. With the Labrador, it was not a problem. She was like, whoa, look at it. She started playing with the little cat right away. My Lucy, the traumatized girl, the more timid, more kind, she like my big Romina, my Labrador, she listens to Lucy because Lucy is the
boss.
Lucy is the more experienced. Let's put it that way, not the boss. That's the other thing. It's not a hierarchy like we would have it amongst humans, where one just blindly follows orders.
Yep.
Romina listens to Lucy. Romina listens to Lucy's advice, but she doesn't follow orders. But Lucy was totally like, a cat here?
In my space?
Let's just ignore it. And the little cat was trying again. The little boy cat was trying again and again and go. And then he started imitating Lucy. Lucy was his great model and mama, and Romy was basically his cuddle sister. And after 3 days, it totally flipped. Lucy opened up completely to the little kitten. started inspecting him, greeting him when they came home, and when he was kind of sick, she was all worried about her little cat, and she totally adopted the little boy. And how they got along was amazing. Amazing to see. How my little cat, his favorite pastime, watching birds. You know, we have thousands of birds in the 20 trees. Uh, Even in the park area outside, you're coming from the silence or relative silence into a concert of birds when you're coming near my territory or my place I'd occupied, basically. Because many people, when you go busking on the street, many people give you bread. And I don't eat much bread, so I mostly gave it to the birds. And then there were
They
so
followed
many
him.
birds coming in.
The birds followed him home.
And the little kitten, I saw him really lie there for 20 minutes, still as can be, watching the birds, watching the birds. And whenever he moved and they flew away, he was, why do they fly?
But now I'm sad.
Really, one injured bird that was already injured before, that was kind of like flapping on the ground, he kind of like jumped one time, but he was totally sad that it didn't move after a while. So it didn't mean any harm to the birds, which love to watch the birds. But yeah, watching nature and watching these pure beings, not animal, but anibon. That's a bad word.
Animal. And I didn't think of this until Mike
the animated evil. Is other word for animated evil. Animal. No,
Yep.
it's anibon. The anibons are they, and we're the animal. Sort of. No, we're not. We're corrupted.
No.
There's such
We
great
have our
people.
own programming to deal with. So, I mean, that's one of your things. That's one of your things that you want to do is you want to
You
help.
revive the hope in my race.
Yeah,
People,
I try.
people like you. I attract great people. I found in my 4 years as busker in this dark, fucked up tourist town, I found such great people like my Alberto, who says I'm not making money off the disease of people. I help people, but so in everything a little quality in his coffee kiosk. You know, he has his regular customers, and the water is in a glass jar. You know, he pours out the water for the people in a glass jar. If I ask for honey with my coffee, of course he does. In a glass jar with a wooden roller, like everything with a little bit of love. And I meet that kind of people. Jimena, I've told you about my Mexican.
You draw them to you, like this is part of your journey.
My favorite Mexican witch, Jimena. She's amazing. I told you about. She's calls herself an alchemist. Visited an alchemy course for 4 years and gone the Jacob's path. And she's a very spiritually open-minded and advanced soul being, I say. We spent hours at nights when I came there to charge my motorcycles. She can come in with a smile after a long working day at a restaurant, scoots me up a chair and rolls her cigarette and starts talking to me from 1 till 2 in the morning. No problem. See you later. Amazing woman. Helga, over 80-year-old woman, has a bungalow by the beach, has a daughter who's with the police in California, lives in California as a policewoman, and another daughter, and she knows a lot of old cures, old little recipes, and always helped me with something to eat or a few euros if I needed or whatever. And yeah, mostly I just stop by to talk to her when we pass by with the dogs by the.
And busk and play the music. Take requests like and talk to the people. And we had this conversation about how you can affect someone's life, how you can affect someone's day just by smiling at them. Do you know what I mean? Like you're just walking down the street.
Children.
Just smile at them.
Children,
yeah, you have a draw with children. Okay.
I did with
I want
children.
to talk about the archetypal wise man with your beard and how it draws the children.
When people now, with this little bit, tell me, oh, you need to cut it. I'm like, no, until it's down here, I'm not touching that. You know what kind of an enlightening experience that was? How many children, I say, tug on their moms, go, look, man with a beard, look, a man. children coming up to me in singles. The most confident of the children came up in single. The other sometimes in groups. Mostly the littlest one coming up ahead and asking me questions for everybody. But yeah, if
Why
almost
do you
every
have no
day in the end,
shoes? Why?
people,
Yeah.
little, actually children of all ages, if you look at it that way. But from the
Yeah.
littlest children came up to me asking me questions. And I was more than happy. I never wore a watch or minded time, or I was never on any schedule. I was never short. So, mm, yeah, of course. And most of all, I realized that that's work. That's most valuable work, to explain to that little child why I'm walking barefoot, and the ears will
And tell them, why did you walk barefoot?
go. My mom always told me it's very healthy, so I started trying that out, and I realized I didn't get sick anymore. And the more you walk barefoot, the more you get used to it, and the more grounded you are, and the more adult children that ask me, I explained the whole thing about the free radicals and the free electrons that come with the yin chi and everything. But yeah, with the children, it's much easier, really, to explain to them why. Yeah, because like this, I don't get sick anymore because I feel much more contact with the earth because I get into much better of a rhythm when walking. And most of all, we're walking wrong. The way we walk with shoes, stepping down on your heel first is like stupid. You're on one spot with all your weight all at once.
Mm-hmm.
That's stupid. What if there's something? Okay, you have thick rubber soles that disconnect you so you don't feel it. But once you're walking barefoot, you get rid of that really quick.
You walk differently.
You step on your heel one time on something pointed, and you know to step down with your. What my mother actually, very taught medical person, or my mother always was out for everything to help to heal. And coming from a doctor's family, she had a lot of the indoctrination, of course, but also quite some wisdom.
She was obviously very open to natural cures and natural remedies.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, she went to the health food store all the time. We had alfalfa and mung beans, and all the stuff in the kitchen. Silicea, whatever, uh,
So what did she teach you about walking?
that really it's better for you, for your spine and everything, to walk like that with your toe tips down. And when you try, to land on your balls.
Yep.
And when you try that with shoes on,
it doesn't work the same.
You give it up. You give it up very quickly because it just doesn't work right. It doesn't look right. But when walking barefoot, you automatically do that. And then you realize that gravity is vibration, that when you get into a rhythm, that gravity is not static, that your weight, you can influence your weight.
Mm-hmm.
You can totally flow on the vibe. And dogs, it's very difficult to get into that rhythm unless you have a dog running right beside you. Amazing.
It does it naturally?
The dog does it naturally. That's why dogs are so much faster than we are. Although they're not as strong and not as tall and not as smart as we are with our smartphones. And not as vain as we are, by the way. Yeah, and so when you adjust to the rhythm of your bitches left and right, you're like, wow, this is easy. This is like. There's one guy, Raphael. I saw him from the first months that I was in Roquetas. I saw him during the summertime without a shirt and barefoot. The only one besides me running barefoot there, running along the beach. Long curly hair, short, berry guy. Obviously quite intellectual, and we started talking quickly and became friends. And he has a quite intellectual son, does taekwondo and advanced being. And I talked to Raphael, his son, at one point. Said, "Your father's running quite a few miles every day." He says, "He runs the long marathon, 100 kilometers." Okay. And yeah, whenever he ran by me or I ran, whatever, we met along the boardwalk, I'd run beside him for a while. I mean, not really run because I do more of a fast walk, but I'd be pulling next to him and being at the same speed and even catching up to him at times when he came in or something. And after a few kilometers, he's like, "You're pretty tough, huh?" No, it's just natural. It's more natural. And I mean, I couldn't keep up with him forever.
Not for 100 kilometers.
Not
anyway.
for 100 kilometers for sure. Much less with my joint in my hand, dude. But
yeah, that'll slow you down.
He was very surprised of, despite my smoking, how much I kept up next to him.
Yep.
And most of all, how easily I was talking with him. I was chatting with him while speed walking. So yeah, it was so funny. These Hollywood figurines with a computer on their arm and the headband and the whole professional running outfit and $100 running shoes or more. Sweaty. I'm walking right beside them with a guitar on my back, with a bag of groceries, and how many miles have you done today? It was fun.
He likes really showing up all the Hollywoodites. Yes.
Mm.
So
Disney
you want
figurines,
to,
no matter what country they're from, they have none of their cultures left.
Yeah, they're all Hollywoodized.
That's why they ask you where you're from before they even know your name. Because earlier times you could tell where they're from. Okay, Scottish would have their outfit, the Irish would have their outfit, the Germans would have their outfit and their style and their ways and their everything. Nowadays they're all Disneyfied. They're all completely Disneyfied, really.
I love that term. I'm stealing that one off you. I could Disneyfied. It's the new unfucker term. To be undisneyfied.
Yep. I wish I remember. I'll get into it when I play the song. Where women have hair and men a long beard and people don't find my songs weird. I'd stay, Lord, I pray. I always change the lyrics, and I had I had one song. I don't know. It just comes spontaneously. When I play my gig on the street, organically changes the lyrics automatically. You know, it's just like when I see these crowds,
depending on who you're talking to, yeah.
I gotta make fun of them. That's the only way you keep yourself going, really. And all the.
So I want to get back I want to get back to you and your dream for the dogs.
Right.
I want to talk about because.
Happy Puppy Paradise.
Happy Puppy Paradise.
Community based on how those get along, those Annie Buns, right?
Yep.
The furry guys. They're not for nothing.
Two-legged beings. Four-legged beings.
I met this wise man one time. I think he was a shaman or something. He was full of wisdom. And one of the things he told me was that it's not by chance that God and dog are in reverse. You know, they show you who you are and how you are.
Yep.
And yeah, it's got to do with the dog star and Sirius, and the gods came from there. I heard that whole thing as well. But yeah, but those two dogs really showed me the free Wolverines. There were 3 at times. That sounded nice. 3 free Wolverines. But yeah.
But you want to share that.
We can learn a lot more. We can learn a lot more from them than they from us.
Yes.
So if we provide for a community, we already have my gypsy friend who keeps saving horses that he can't afford to feed. He's running in 3rd generation horse carriage for the tourists, taking tourists on rides with the horses. He has 11 horses. You don't need that many to run that one.
But he keeps rescuing them anyways.
From the butchers and from there and there. And then he has cabras. What's that? Goats. And so we have those. He also has 2 dogs, I think. And my 2 dogs, or a few cats. And that'll be a good base, you know. And then we can
teach the beings to live with the beings like the beings.
We have an encounter once a week by the beach where we learn with dogs. with dogs.
Yep.
Where we learn to communicate better and live in harmony with these better.
And share that information.
And
like getting other people to understand
the past
how
3-4
important
years, I practiced that. I perfected that. Bringing it back to basics, bringing it to basic principles, showing them by what animal makes that sound. Oh, see. All of a sudden they realize these things.
Yeah. When someone shows them what it is.
And very quickly they also notice with their children, same thing. Whatever you project on your children will do, because they want to fulfill your expectations. And if you expect the worst and warn them of the worst and make them scared, and they will get into the worst. That kind of thing. With the punishment principle, and instead give them some appreciation. Notice when they're doing good.
Yep.
And
don't call it positive reinforcement. I hate
that. Yeah. That's just broken.
Isn't that just, that's just life. That's just love. That's just what it is.
Yeah.
No, I hear you on that.
Appreciation, gratitude, whatever. Notice what they're doing good, when they're doing good. Usually it's so deeply, and not just Spanish, it's also people from all countries come down there, from all European countries at least.
Dragging their dogs behind them.
Not taking notice of their dog as long as the dog does as they should. The only time the dog gets what they crave for the most, your attention.
Yep.
Is when they do something wrong, when they do something bad, when they fuck up. All of a sudden they get all the attention they
don't want.
Don't want really, but
they'll take
if that's
it.
The only one they get,
they'll get. They'll take it that way too. And kids are the same. I mean, I've met kids.
No shit. Where did you meet kids?
But this, because we've always had tons of kids in our house come through, and they're the ones that you meet that the only time they get any attention from the teacher, from the parents, from even their siblings, is when they do something bad, and therefore they just keep repeating it because it becomes like a loop. Even bad attention is better than no attention.
I found it always cool if I was the only one who had entering the class book, dude. I got a letter from the principal. Cool, no?
I mean, look, I have his autograph.
Yeah. Dude, in college, the dean of students, Kenneth Bellum, the big black guy, I was put into the room in dormitory hall B and Kerr Hall, UNT, with this geek. He'd lived in the dorms for 4 consecutive years. Everybody wanted to get out of the dorm, because it could smoke and the rules. This guy wrote for the student newspaper, had his daily column, had his picture in the student newspaper. Nobody knew who he was. He lived in that dorm for 4 years, sitting at the computer, laughing about his own jokes. And nobody knew the guy. And he ratted me out for having some weed in my room, dude. And for
this was in Texas, by the way.
Zero tolerance policy, right? I knew all the stoners within a month. And yeah, so the hall director, Scott Casey, who was my good friend, mountain of a man, had to do something because, if somebody reports on. So he sent 2 of the female RAs, resident assistants, that came to my room, and they didn't touch the pipe on themselves. They just, like he told them, took out my safety lock box.
Yep.
Where I usually kept my weed in. I just taken the rest of my weed out. Lucky enough. And dude, if I opened that safe, it was vacuum closed, right? A safe.
Yeah.
A little safe box. But as soon as I cracked that lid, the whole hallway was smelling. I got the dang stuff in Texas. Everybody's like, whoa, where'd you get that? I've never seen it. Anyway, I knew her. And I'd gone to Amsterdam before and Holland and everything, so I know what to look for, basically. So I got to know this dude with a cheap Cherokee, rich kid who regularly went down to Dallas to get some hydro. And for me was the regular. For them, was like, whoa, what is that? Anyway, and so yeah, my roommate knocked me out. My bottom line was I had to go to the dean of students to report. He put me down the student code of conduct. There's a section controlled substances. The least I can do is expel you for 2 long semesters from the university. I'm like, I'd have to go back to Germany, which I don't like. It'll not be the end of my, please. And he kept highlighting it. Nothing else I can do. Come again next week. He talked to me 3 times for 20, 30 minutes. I don't know what these people have to do, what other they have to do, but I was talking around. The 3rd time I got there, he was like 180 degrees. He's like, yeah, I know everything's not as strict in Europe, and you're from Europe, and you made yourself a good name at the dormitory hall, and the funny thing is they crowned me resident of the month of the National Residence Hall honorary in the first month that I moved into Kerr Hall, because I was just getting along with people, right? And then a few months later, the guy ratted me out. And so I'd become friends with a few people. And Scott Casey, my hall director, talked in my favor.
Tell him what your punishment was. That's the best part. Yeah. What was your punishment?
Kenneth Bellum said, yeah, but we have to do something. We can't just let that slide. We'll just expel you from the dormitory hall. I could have gotten a job as an RA in the next semester, and I really integrated well. But oh well. Thank you, Mr. Bell. I went outside and like strike. And from that day on, all the kids from Kerr Hall came visiting me at my efficiency apartment. We're 14, 15 people there smoking out. It was amazing. It was a nice community that formed basically in that way. Stoners mainly.
The short form of this story is someone is a troublemaker and doesn't listen to bosses because you don't recognize them.
Hierarchy.
What? Hierarchy. What?
Authority.
Exactly. Yeah.
Authority comes from author.
Yep.
My mother had studied language correspondence. She had a university. She was a very humble being and never made money off it really, but very interesting language. And my father gave me the chance to travel around the world early as a pilot. So yeah, I was always very much interested. Where do those words really come from?
Where do those words? What do they?
I think in older times people were kind of more clear about all that because it's very obvious.
Yep.
Authority. What other word is contained in authority? If you ask people that nowadays, they seriously stand there. They don't get it.
Yep.
That it contains the word author, and that's where it comes from. That's where the authority lies originally, with the author, and thereby it comes obvious. No, you're not my author. Hence, don't have authority unless the author has given you authority.
And I'll have to see that writing with your wedding signature on it.
And don't give me some papal bulls from 1200. Look me up. I don't. No. I don't recognize those at all.
Well, I want to thank you for coming by to Gozo. It was awesome.
It was my big desire ever since we met back in 2012 or
11,
13, I don't know.
Something like that.
Yeah. finally, come around. And now we're starting through.
And we're going to drag.
We're going to get this show on the road, all right?
We're going to show on the road, and Mike's going to maybe join us for a couple of the Unfuck It discussions when he's got internet and he's got the motivation to go online, perhaps.
We do the whole... I'm getting back, reconnected to the Matrix right now. I was actually, all these years I had a little tablet PC and internet mostly. As a homeless guy living on the street on the back porch of an abandoned building, I had a tablet PC. getting to know the right people that helped me out, basically. Not in my name, of course. I didn't have a name at
Because
the
you didn't
time.
have a name at the
I had
time.
a street name at the time. Everybody knew Micah. It's amazing. My gypsy friend Louis Miguel says, Mike, you're more well known than the local mayor. Which might well be true, because the local mayor didn't walk up and down the beach for 10
And
miles every day.
And play the guitar in public every day and talk to everyone as they walked by.
Yeah. So it's an amazing experience, really.
A journey.
I've made so many. I have about, I don't know, 1,800 Facebook contacts, many of whom I really know.
Yep. Unlike most of the other rest of us who haven't met them face to face, these contacts.
It was great.
It's okay, because we're going to come to Spain, visit you in Spain, and check out your hangout.
If I can do anything to help that, please. That's my great dream, to see how I have established myself from truly nothing.
We're going to go busking together.
From zero. And I'll take you on my daily walk. And
it's a promise.
Really, I have black African illegal immigrant friends who sell their shit from the beach wall and get busted all every now and then. They're all my friends. And the gypsies that don't usually say we gypsies don't have any friends.
Tips from Mike. Mike's a friend.
People of all ages, all people over 80, people under 20, no matter what. It was nice. It was good to.
And do you regret it? Anything?
In the contrary. I grew up pretty protected, and bad tongues would call it spoiled, in a way, with love and with lots of material abundance, and to really get the grounding. That was amazing. That was so amazing. That extension of perspective, the possibility. My grandfather, village doctor, wise man, great painter until he got very gishty hands, arthritis, very badly deformed hands, but he could still paint amazing pictures. One of the advices I got from him that stuck: Mike, if you don't know what's going on, if you don't understand the situation, if you lost for words, take a step back. Look at it from a removed perspective. What better opportunity than to unplug from the matrix, the commercial matrix I'm talking.
Yep.
The whole.
Yep.
You are not a fiction of commerce. A person is a commercial fiction, a legal commercial fiction. And you're not a fictional entity, and you're not a commercial entity.
You're a person, a living person.
You are a living individual, a living being. You are the value, yeah. Because you are the only one who can give value to anything. Yeah. So it was amazing. I recommend anybody do it as freely as you can. Leave behind as little as you dare. Go as much barefoot as you dare, as you can, as you think you can adjust to. Sleep outdoors as much as you can, as close to the ground as you can.
Close to the ground as you can.
Amazing.
Sit on the ground. Sit on the ground.
Be grounded.
Get yourself grounded onto the actual ground. Yeah. Move forward. Graduate to adulthood.
And now I see what I can do here to unfuck this place.
Yes.
Ha ha ha. Let's get there. Thank you, Donnie.
Thank you.
Love you. Thank you, guys.